Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Casual Brews back with my week 4 betting picks and a little NFL preview, if you will. Had a really good week last week. I went 21 and 14 on my picks, so that included all the spreads for each game, the over-unders for each game, and a couple money line underdogs to top off. So I think Green Bay was +3, so I bet them the +3 and outright to win. That one hit, as well as New Orleans. I doubled up on that one too with the money line. So really good week. I mean, 21 and 14. If you keep that kind of win record up every week, you'd get pretty rich. So I don't expect to, but that was a really good week. Let's see what I can do in week 4. So get right into it. Cincinnati -7.5 at home against Jacksonville. Kind of a surprising line. I think it's actually opened like -6, so I wish I got it earlier. But people have been, I think, hammering the Bengals here. They looked good last week in their win against Pittsburgh. Offense, defense, they're starting to click. Jacksonville's look terrible. So again, I'm surprised this line isn't bigger, but I think the odds makers still want to see a little more from Cincinnati, who obviously without Joe Burrow most of the year were pretty bad. So I like Cincinnati still to cover this 7.5. I also like the under 45, mostly because I don't think Jacksonville has shown they can really score well. Cincinnati's defense looks pretty solid, honestly. So give me the Bengals on the under. Next up, Tennessee -7 at the New York Jets. Again, kind of a surprising line. The Jets have looked terrible. Maybe it's just more so Tennessee's not a team that generally blows people out. So as bad as the Jets are, maybe that's why the line's only 7. But I'll take it. I'll take Tennessee -7 here. And I also like the under 44. Again, Tennessee's defense is okay, nothing great, but the Jets are another team like Jacksonville. They just can't seem to score. Rookie quarterback. They still got a lot of work to do offensively. And I think Elijah Moore is out as well. They're a rookie, good receiver. So, yeah, definitely give me the under there. And next up, we have Kansas City, 7-point favorites at Philadelphia. It's a weird, like almost like again a weird like kind of trap line. You would think it'd be higher. Philly getting smoked by Dallas, but the game's in Philly. Their crowd will be still pretty raucous. Tough place to play. Tough place to score. Um, but I still like Kansas City -7 here, coming off a tough loss last week against the Chargers. I think they're going to be itching to really come out and play their brand of football, high scoring. Maybe their defense will get a bit of a wake up call and have a good practice week, whatever, and come out and try to do to Philly what Dallas did. And that's just shut them down in every facet. So I like the under here. I like Kansas City's defense to at least be respectable. Maybe keep Philadelphia under 20 points. I like the under barely, but I wouldn't be surprised again if Kansas City comes out and throws the ball around and scores like 40 something points and then the over hits. But yeah, leaning Kansas City and the under in this one. Next up, we got Dallas -4 at home against Carolina. This is a tough one to call, honestly. I went back and forth. You know, I write all these picks down beforehand. Had a really tough time with this one, but I'm leaning towards Dallas. I mean, Carolina's looked solid. They haven't really blown anyone away. They've had an easy kind of start to their schedule. Yeah, I like Dallas here -4. It could be a typical Dallas Cowboys, typical letdown game at home after a big road, after a big win at home, and obviously against the Eagles. But I think Dallas is good enough, legit. I think their defense too is going to pose problems. Carolina's offensive line looked pretty bad against Houston, even though they won. So I think Dallas will get after Sam Darnold, make it tough on the Carolina offense. Carolina's defense is pretty good. They picked up a cornerback as well, so I think they'll cause some problems to Dallas's offense. But overall, I think Dallas can cover that 4 points, win by 7 to 10 maybe. I like the under 50.5 here, because again, I just think Dallas's defense is going to pose some problems for Carolina, and I think that's a pretty easy pick, honestly, the under 50.5, unless Dallas goes crazy offensively like Kansas City can too. So, but yeah, give me the under. Next up, we got New Orleans -7. They're at home against the Giants. This is another kind of tough one, surprisingly, even though I love New Orleans against New England. They won outright as underdogs. I think the Giants, they're bad, obviously, but they've kind of hung in. They've kind of hung in. Like they hung in against the Falcons. They hung in against Washington. Um, I don't think they're as bad as 0-3. Um, I'm taking New Orleans -7 here, but I could see this being a push game. Like a lot of games end within 7 points, so I could see New Orleans winning by 7 and then being a push, whatever. But yeah, it's a tough pick. I just think New Orleans looks good defensively, especially. Giants haven't done much on offense. So I like New Orleans, and I like over 42. I think that's really low. Obviously, Giants do struggle to score, but I think New Orleans will. Yeah, I just think I think 42 is low. It's really tough to pick it under 42 unless you got really two bad offensive teams. Yeah, over 42. Don't love it, but I like over 42. Next up, we got Minnesota +2. So they're 2-point underdogs at home against Cleveland Browns. Um, I like Minnesota outright in this one, honestly. Could just be homerism that they beat, my Seahawks. Maybe Seahawks just aren't that good. I don't know. But they beat the Seahawks, and I think they can beat the Browns at home. Um, Browns coming off a big dominating win against the Bears, who stink. Maybe a bit of a letdown spot for them in this game. Minnesota crowd was electric in their last game against the Seahawks, so I think they'll bring more of the same here. Make it tough on the Browns offense. But with that being said, I also love the over 51.5 here too, though. I don't love it, pardon me, but I'm taking it because I think I could see this being like a late kind of shootout, maybe even going into overtime, Minnesota pulling it out. So I really like Minnesota money line and the +2 obviously as well. And I like the over 51.5 here. Cleveland's defense has been hot and cold. I think Minnesota runs a kind of quick offense, get the ball out fast to kind of neutralize Cleveland's pass rush, because once you get to Cleveland's secondary, it hasn't looked that good, and their linebackers can't seem to cover well as well. So, yeah, I like the over. I like Minnesota money line and +2. Next up, we have, this is another really hard one, the Bears -3 at home against the Detroit Lions. Bears are 1-2, but they've looked bad in their losses. Detroit's 0-3, but they've kind of hung tough with, well, at least in two of their games. They kind of let the Packers game get out of hand, but they've looked feisty. I think even though Nagy's obviously a terrible coach, everyone knows that. I think any professional coach can look at what went wrong in that Cleveland game and be like, gee, if he is starting Fields, then he's hopefully going to see how to better scheme his offense for him. Or if Dalton's ready to go, if Nick Foles is ready to go, I just think they can be competent enough within that offense to beat a team like Detroit. He's got a lot of holes. They play tough, but they're just not a good team talent-wise. So, yeah, I like the Bears to squeak by. Again, I could see this being a push. I could see Chicago winning like 23-20 here, and then whatever to push. I like the over 42. I just think Chicago's defense, it's solid, but again, their secondary is pretty weak. Good pass rush, obviously, but I just think that over can squeak by, even if it's like a late touchdown both ways, overtime game maybe, who knows. But I don't love it. I could see this game also being 17-14 and going under, but over 42, it's just hard to not go with that. Again, Detroit's defense isn't great either, so Bears maybe will have a bounce back and win big in this game. Who knows? Next up, this is a doozy. Buffalo is 16-point favorites at home against the Houston Texans. Houston obviously would not be so wildly an underdog if Tyrod Taylor was healthy. He's still out. Davis Mills did not look good at all in his first start. I think it's going to be more of the same against a good Buffalo defense. Buffalo had that weird first week loss to the Steelers, and they've pretty much rolled ever since, killing the Miami Dolphins. They smoked Washington. I didn't see that coming. I picked them to win that game and cover, but I didn't think it would be that bad. So yeah, it's a lot of points to lay, but I don't see how Houston scores. Really, like, rookie quarterback shouldn't even been starting this year. He's not one of the rookies that was supposed to come in and start this year. So I just think Houston won't score much, and their defense isn't good enough to really stop Josh Allen and the Bills. The only way Houston could maybe cover is if Buffalo gets off to such a big lead, puts some backups in, and maybe prevent defense. Maybe Davis Mills dinks and dunks his way to 2 touchdowns late, but minus 16. If it was like over 17, I would maybe not want to take it, but it's within that like football number where like a lot of games end 17-point margins. So I like Buffalo to at least win by 16. They could at least win like, I don't know, 27-10 at minimum. So give me Buffalo minus 16. And also I like the under in this one just because I don't think Houston will score. They might get shut out. They might score 6 points. I don't know. They won't score enough to pull their end of the bargain on that 47-point total. So give me the under 47 here. Next up, we got Indianapolis getting 2 points at Miami. Yeah, I like Indianapolis +2 and outright the money line as well. I just think if you like a team +2 or +1, 1.5, just take them outright. Get that little extra juice on the money line. Why not? So I'm gonna double up here on Indianapolis +2 and the money line. Miami looked good last week against Oakland. Maybe a little bit of a letdown spot for Oakland. That's why the game was kind of close. Miami got up 14-0 early in that game. Oakland battled. I keep Oakland. Las Vegas. Jesus. My Las Vegas, came back. That's shows better for them. Yeah, give me the Colts money line, and I also like the over 42.5 here. I just think it's kind of low for two teams who aren't offensive juggernauts. Well, I mean, the Raiders have looked really good offensively so far. Yeah, I think it's kind of low. Like the Colts defense isn't that great. Vegas Raiders defense isn't great either. So again, 42.5 seems pretty bizarre to me. So take that all day. Next up, we got Washington -1.5 against the Falcons in Atlanta. I like Washington to bounce back here. The Falcons haven't really shown me much that they're a very good team. I think everyone kind of knew that going into the season. I think if this was like a week 1 game, I think Washington would be favored by like 6 or 7 here because Washington, the football team, had a lot of hype going into the season and they kind of sputtered out of the gate. Had a bad loss against Buffalo. I think they're well coached with Ron Rivera. He'll get them going and they'll bounce back. And I think they'll win this game pretty handily in Atlanta. Not much for the Atlanta Falcons crowd to cheer for. So I think Washington will have no problems going in there, winning by at least a touchdown. I also like the under 47 in this one, mostly because I think Washington's defense will really take that last week's loss personal and really come out with a good effort against the Falcons, who, again, they only scored, 14 against the Giants. Yeah, 47 under all day. Next up, Seattle getting 3 points at San Francisco. Stop me if you've heard this before. I think the Niners are a little overrated. Obviously, it's tough to really say much positive about the Seahawks after 2 bad losses, but they play well in San Francisco. They really do. I feel better about this game being there than at home. It's sad to say that nowadays. Back in the Legion of Boom days, Seattle was almost unbeatable at home, and now they're losing games to, the Titans at home, right? It's just, yeah, it's not good. They play well in San Francisco, honestly. Better weather conditions and all that stuff too. So, yeah, I like Seattle to win this game. Wouldn't be shocked if they did lose, but I like them to win, and I like the over 51.5 against Seattle's defense. Unless a miraculous change happens overnight, it's still going to be probably more of the same. Jimmy G and that offense is good at dinking and dunking down the field, taking advantage of our soft zones, guys playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, etc. So I think they'll get their points. This could be like a 30-23 kind of 30-27 type of shootout probably. Russ loves playing in San Francisco. I think he'll put up big numbers. The run game hopefully gets going a bit, and I could see Seattle winning a shootout here. So you give me Seattle +3 and the money line +130 I got here, and over 51.5. Okay. A little sippy poo while I turn the page. Okay, and then we got this one I love. Um, the Rams are 4-point favorites at home against Arizona. Arizona is off to a good start. They're 3-0, just like the Rams are. But I think the Rams have looked more impressive in their wins than Arizona has. I still think, based off of what you see on the tape, just by the eye test and everything, Arizona is still the second best team in that division, behind clearly the Rams right now. Um, but I just think the Rams have looked so good, better than even expected, even though a lot of people probably had them winning that division. They've looked really good. I think they make another statement here at home. It's going to be a raucous crowd, that beautiful stadium. Yeah, I think they beat the Cardinals pretty soundly here, like by 10, maybe. So give me the Rams and give me the under 55. I just think that's a little high. Rams have a good defense. Arizona defense is okay, and I just think they're going to make it hard on Kyler. I think they're going to game plan well for his mobility in that, and unless he breaks a couple long touchdown runs himself or maybe gets a couple deep balls away from Ramsey, that under 55 seems like a no-brainer, and I like the Rams to win big in this one, honestly. Next up, we got Green Bay, 6.5-point favorites at home against Pittsburgh. Um, I'm glad this isn't 7 or 7.5. I probably locked it in at the right time because I think people are going to bet Green Bay hard here and drive the line up closer to game day. So I'm glad I locked it in at 6.5. Again, my picks are all locked in as I'm making this video. So I'm glad I got it at 6.5 because I could really see, I could see Pittsburgh bouncing back here, but just a classic battle, two veteran quarterbacks, Big Ben, unless he gets benched, I don't know, versus Aaron Rodgers. This could be like this could be a 27-20 finish, or 20, maybe like a 31-24, something like that. Just a classic game. Yeah, I like Green Bay. I like Green Bay, but if I could, maybe I'll sprinkle some money on like Green Bay to win by 7 or something like that. Whatever those odds might be pretty good. So yeah, I'm glad it's Green Bay minus 6.5. So give me that and give me the over 46. Again, just barely. I think Pittsburgh will kind of maybe get some things going on offense. Green Bay's defense, a little suspect. Um, yeah, I like over 46 barely. If I could predict a score, it would be 27-20 Green Bay. Next up, we got, this was another really hard one. Denver, 1-point favorites at home against Baltimore. Ooh, man, I went back and forth on this one too. It's tough to bet against Lamar Jackson, even though at times he can be a bit erratic and some really good defenses can kind of stymie him. But I like Denver. I like Denver here. They're kind of like, a lot of people are saying, well, their teams they played are combined 0-9, right? They played Jets, the Jaguars, I think, and I forget the third team, but their three teams I think are combined 0-9 that they played. So it's easy to think they're going to turn back into a pumpkin here. A team like Baltimore, Lamar Jackson can run all over them, but I just think, again, they're well coached. I think they're going to really they hear all that stuff, right? I think they're going to come out and make a statement here. I really do. Now they got some injuries. Receivers, Judy's out, and I think it was Hamler is out too. But they still got more. They still got Sutton. That other guy, I forget his name too. Small guy. I think running game is pretty solid too. And Bridgewater's, he's a solid quarterback. He's not going to light the world on fire, but he's like, they asked him to come in for Drew Brees, and he played half the season last year. Looked really good. So yeah, I like them to squeak by Baltimore here. It'll be a close game. I'm sure Lamar will have the ball last, maybe down 3, down 7, something like that, maybe. And I think Denver's defense is good enough that they won't let him do what he does, in his heroics. So I like Denver in this one. I really do. Again, I'll feel stupid if this one loses because I bet against a reigning MVP, not reigning, but a previous MVP guy in Lamar Jackson who's made some crazy comebacks. But also sometimes they take away his mobility, and it remains to be seen a little bit if he can really throw his way to victory. So I like Denver here. I also like the over 45, another tough pick, but I think I think again, I think Lamar will do enough. I think early on, maybe I could see Denver, I could see Baltimore actually like coming ahead early. Lamar maybe getting some of the things he wants early offensively, and then Denver making some adjustments, kind of shutting them down late, and then figuring their offense out as the game goes on, a little more methodical, old school style of moving the ball. And I think they squeak by with this over. I don't love it. I could really see this game going under and being like 23-20, so I'll just miss it, but taking the over. Don't love it at all. Next up, probably the game of the week, maybe one of the games of the year, at least storyline wise. Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, 7-point favorites going into New England. Brady's comeback, I don't really need to say much about this. You can see it all over TSN, ESPN, what's going on there. I think the Bucs kill them. The Patriots have looked bad. Brady just thrives off of these kind of situations, and maybe Belichick's magic's kind of run out. Maybe he doesn't have the players. I don't know. I wouldn't feel as good about this game had they not looked pretty bad against the Saints. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay kills them. I think their defense comes to play here, whereas they've looked kind of suspect so far this year. Mac Jones, a rookie, I don't know. He's got limitations. He's solid, but he's got limitations, obviously, and I think the Bucs defense really takes advantage of those and gets after him. So I like the Bucs big here. Surprised it's only 7. I'm sure it'll go up to like 7.5, maybe 8 or something closer to game day. But I locked it in at 7, so I like that. And I also like the under 49. Yeah, I can see this game being like 31-14, 31-17, maybe Bucs. So it's gonna squeak under 49, I think, just based off of New England maybe struggling to score. And lastly, the Monday nighter, the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think I've called them Oakland twice already. That's embarrassing, but what can I do? It's still weird seeing them on Oakland. The Las Vegas Raiders, 4-point underdogs, going into LA. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, so we'll have a Sunday game, Rams at home, and then the next day they got to make it a Charger Stadium. So Chargers, 4-point favorites. Again, I went back and forth on this one too. Chargers coming off a nice win. Raiders 3-0. Not a nice win really against Miami. So really, like, the pick should be Chargers, right? But I like Raiders. I was gonna maybe just bet Raiders +4, but at +150, fuck it. I'm taking the Raiders all outright. It's a tough pick to make. I'm sure Raiders fans will travel. Will travel to LA and watch the game. Yeah, I think Raiders keep it rolling. I don't know. Chargers have looked good and bad at times, right? They didn't look great against the Cowboys. Maybe Cowboys are legit. I don't know. But yeah, I like Raiders outright in this one. Don't think, just throw. I like the Raiders. And I also like the over 52. It's going to be a shootout, I think. I think Chargers defense hasn't looked as good as I would have expected. Raiders defense is, not great either. But yeah, both teams can throw the ball. So I like a shootout here, over 52, and the Raiders to win outright. So anyway, those are my picks. Coming off of 21-14 week 2, or week 3 rather. Week before I was only 15-16, but I still eked out a positive week because of money line underdog wins. So yeah, see if I keep it rolling here.